Hello, welcome back. I am inflicting my opinion on you, as per usual, and today I am going to be ranking Portugal the Man's albums on a tier list, S being a classic, A being great but not quite a classic, B being really good but not quite great, C being very average, D, I'm not really coming back to that, and F, completely unlistenable. I don't think that any album is completely unlistenable, but I may be surprised, so we'll find that out together. I'm going to jump in with their first album called Waiter. This one I think is good, and I think it is very reflective of the time that it came out. So for that, I am going to put it into the C tier, which is average, kind of the sound that was going on. I think they're figuring out what their sound was completely. And I am a huge fan of Portugal the Man, for the record, so don't attack me too much. I noticed that It's Complicated Being a Wizard is not listed on their Wikipedia and their albums. I think it should be. I know it's really short, but I would probably put that in the same tier. I really like that album, but if I'm being honest, it's kind of more so just sounds and really cool voice effects and voices. But I think it's pretty average, but maybe ambitious for that time. Then we have Church Moth. Church Moth, good album. I think a lot of people really enjoy this album, and I think it propelled Portugal the Man into a different stratosphere as far as an artist goes. So I'm going to put it in the good album because, again, this isn't the first album I'm going to recommend to somebody to listen to if it's their first time listening to Portugal the Man. So that's my logic behind that. Then we jump into Censored Colors. I think Censored Colors is a really good album, but there are a few too many skips on it for me. Colors and I, those were my anthems for a little while there, but I'm going to put it in the same category as Church Moth. I think that it's good, but not quite great, but it was leading into some of the greatness that we are going to uncover in just a moment. Then we have their fourth or fifth, however you want to count it, studio album, Satanic Satanist. This album, again, really good. But I don't know if I would venture as far as to say great. Again, this isn't the first album I'm going to tell people to listen to when it comes to Portugal the Man, so I think I'm going to put it in the same tier with Church Moth and Censored Colors, which I've been trying to find Censored Colors on vinyl forever. So if you know somewhere that has that, let your boy know, because I really would like Censored Colors on vinyl because I love that album a lot. But again, I'm trying to be fair in these rankings. So moving on, I think our next album is going to be American Ghetto. This album is fine. I think there's a few cool songs on there, but I don't think it's as good as anything in the B tier list. So I am going to throw it into the average. There's a lot of cool songs on there, but I do think the album is average if we're being honest with ourselves. And that's what I'll say on that. Then we have In the Mountain, in the Cloud. This album has far too many great songs on it for me to rank it with the B tier. I think it's a great album, but I don't think it's quite a classic in my opinion. There are a couple skips on there, but overall I really like this album and I like the direction that the band went with this one. The cover art's so cool. Their cover art is typically really cool, but I digress. Then we have the next album, which is Evil Friends. And maybe a hot take, I'm not sure, but I think this is their classic album. Evil Friends is one of the best albums that I've ever heard in my life. My experience, my opinion, my video. The way that it begins and ends with the same sonic ideas, it really feels like an album, and it feels like a cohesive thought happening from beginning to end. And that's what I really enjoy about albums, is when they feel like albums more than just playlist. and I think that this album has no skips on it. If you don't agree, I'm sorry, but I think this album has no skips, and it's 100% a classic album. Really good. Then we jump into the latest release to date, which is Woodstock. Woodstock had Feel It Still, and no one could escape the song Feel It Still, but I do think there are quite a few really good songs on here. Definitely not a classic album by any means. I listened to this one. It's in my top like 4 of my rotation, so this is kind of tough. I don't know. I don't think that it's a better album than Mountain. I think it's gonna have to hang out in the good tier. I think that I feel okay about that. If I could put it in like the in between A and B, I would. I've listened to this album quite a bit because it's the newest one to date. But I think that that's a fair assessment of that album. I really like that they brought in a hip hop producer for it. It was really cool. So, classic album, Evil Friends, great but not quite a classic. Mountain good but not quite great. Church Moth, Censored Colors, Satanic Satanist, Woodstock. Average, American Ghetto, Waiter. It's Complicated Being a Wizard, Consolation. But according to Wikipedia, it's not an album, which I think it should be. So that is my tier list for Portugal the Man albums. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. If you think something should be higher or lower, let me know. Until next time,